I didn't dare speak because I wanted to do it correctly. Every time I've tried to do it in the past, it's been hard.
What had you tried before we met?
In the very beginning, I went to classes and it was quite successful, to be fair. But because I then had a period of not being well, unfortunately being dyslexic all the way I am, I need those lessons to be able to communicate. My husband just learned it from talking to people, but I'm just not like that.
How confident were you feeling on a scale from 1 to 10 to speak and interact?
3, probably. What I don't like is not being able to, that you end up assuming a lot of things and you're not always right with what you assume.
And what about now, 3 months after?
I certainly feel more confidence in just trying to speak it, which was one of the biggest things that was stopping me before. I think your methodology is far better than anything I've ever had before, and it works well for me. Although I'm very impatient and I want more, I need to stop and realize how much I have improved already.
Hola Jill, ¿qué tal?
Bien. You do?
Muy bien. Vale, okay, so, well, basically this meeting that I told you to have is just to see a little bit how everything has been, how your impressions have been on these 3 months that we've done.
Yeah.
Most importantly, see following steps and objectives that we need
Sure.
to set. Okay. So, well, just before I start asking you questions, I wanna give you my big congratulations on these 3 months, almost 3 months now. We've completed
3 months, yeah.
3 months already. Well, you've been just showing up to every lesson, doing your homework every single messages, and so doing the homework, showing up to the lesson, and basically just keeping up with the rhythm that we were asking for. And it's of course paying off. I can see a big improvement when it comes to speaking, interacting. As I said, of course, there's areas and things and aspects of the language that we still need to work on. But if I compare the very first lesson that we had to the last that we had, big improvements. So not only congratulate you, but thank you on the commitment, because as I said, it's of course paying off, and I can see how your fluency and confidence when interacting is improving. So thank you and congratulations.
Well, thank you very much for that. Yeah. No, for me, you're right. If you say compared to the first lesson to now, there's a big difference. And I certainly feel more confidence in just trying to speak it, which was one of the biggest things that was stopping me before, because I didn't dare speak because I wanted to do it correctly rather than just getting on with it and then being told later what you can perfect a bit more is much better, because you talk more. I mean, yesterday we had a couple of neighbours come down here, and I couldn't say a lot, but I said, I understood a lot, well, nearly everything they were saying, and I could add my bits to it rather than letting my husband do all the talking. So that was also good.
Okay. How long was that? How long ago was that?
Yesterday that was, yeah. So although I'm very impatient and I want more, I need to stop and realize how much I have improved already. So I think your methodology is far better than anything I've ever had before, and it works well for me. And the more you put into it, the more you get out of it, I think, as well, because it's not just about having one lesson a week with you, which is the biggest difference, I think, compared to any other teacher I've had or anything, is the fact that you've got a whole community, which is fantastic. So you can talk to other people and not worry because they're foreigners too. So it makes it easier. And they're learning Spanish with you. And the fact that you have all these add-on things like the cooking classes and the general classes that you're going to be doing and stuff like that makes the difference, I think, from just having a 1 hour once a week and a little bit of homework. You can't move forward quick enough if you just have that. Whereas the way you do it with a community and of learners, it helps you a lot more to progress quicker, and you spend more time in your actual hour just speaking, which is much better for me, definitely.
Yeah. Does it help you to, well, what do you think about the homework that we have done? So what you're supposed to do, you've been in between lessons. How helpful do you find that to then show up to the lesson and actually speak?
For me, I find it hugely beneficial because because I want to learn quickly and I want to learn more, I can go at a quicker pace because I'm learning the basics sort of in the homework time. And yeah, if one week's busier than others, it doesn't, you know, you just adjust. But I find that with the homework, it means that we can concentrate in the hour a lot more on the speaking and just reviewing it. And for someone with dyslexia, being able to do the homework and do things in advance means that I benefit far more from the actual lesson time, because I already sort of know what we're going to be doing, so I can prepare a little bit more. Not that I need to know everything we're doing in the lesson, but you feel you're more in touch with the language because you're doing the homework and stuff like that. So for me, wanting to sort of like know everything too quickly, it helps a lot being able to have guided homework, and just seeing how far I get with it. But because I'm always looking ahead, that's my problem. I need to be in the moment with the studies, and that's what the homework does. It helps a lot with that.
Yeah, that's great. And so, how long have you been living in Spain?
Oh, it's embarrassing. 18 years.
18 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And what had you tried to before we met? What had you tried to learn Spanish?
In the very beginning, I went to classes and it was quite successful, to be fair. But because I then had a period of not being well, and then because of the type of businesses we ran on Mallorca, I just was too busy with my life and my kids and my businesses to make the effort. And unfortunately, being dyslexic the way I am, I need those lessons to be able to communicate. My husband just learned it from talking to people, but I'm just not like that. I can't learn that way. So every time I've tried to do it in the past, it's been hard. And then when we moved here, because in theory, I need it more, although I don't see a lot of people, to be fair, but no one speaks English in the village, really. Then I started having lessons, but because it's a Spanish teacher who's really an English teacher sort of at a school, it's not for a foreigner to learn the language, and then it becomes quite complicated because you're learning it how Spanish people learn it, and moving too fast as well, I think, was part of the problem before as well. So I think it works better this way in that sense.
Yeah. And these lessons that you took, was it group lessons?
In the beginning, yeah, and of course that was more beneficial, I think, at the time. But since I moved here, which is only 2 years, it was just 2 hours a week, one by individual lessons.
Okay, so in the very same school, you first did group lessons and then one-on-one.
No, one was in Mallorca and one's here in Cinecas.
Okay.
So it's very hard here because we're not near enough to Valencia to find classes for Spanish.
Yeah.
But then I found a Spanish person that teaches English in the village, and she started teaching me Spanish. But again, it's not the same way as if it was someone that's dedicated to just teaching foreigners Spanish.
Yeah. And in those group lessons that you did, how much speaking time did you have during the lesson?
It's hard to remember. It was but it was always fairly basic stuff. And because I never sort of mastered the basic level, whenever I started again, I always had to go back to what I started at. And although I've sort of done that this time, because of the homework and that, we've been able to pump up the pace a lot quicker. So it felt a lot more rewarding that way.
And in terms of confidence, when it comes to speaking, how much did those group lessons help you?
Not a lot. I used to in work, because obviously we weren't as far advanced with computers back then, but in work, you know, I could do emails and stuff like that a bit, using Google to translate as well, but which obviously isn't reliable. But I had my set emails that I needed for the work that we were doing at the time, so it worked for that, but not so much for the speaking. No. And then when I was ill, I basically totally lost it, even though I was going to Spanish hospitals, but because they were in Mallorca, people spoke English there even. So
yeah. So I mean, you want to learn Spanish to speak Spanish, not to write. Well, Maybe
I
what
mean,
you
my
your
my
business?
my main thing is to speak it. I can. I don't try and write it that often because it just never really comes up, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I can, and I can read it obviously, and I can get the gist of things in all three ways.
Mhm.
But what I don't like is not being able to that you end up assuming a lot of things, and you're not always right with what you assume. And I would like to get past that stage that you sort of think you know what people are saying, but you don't really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
And
I think
then
that's my goal for the next 3 months is sort of to do with that, because although I know I have to review and look at all the tenses differently, but if we cover the three past tenses, like the one we've already sort of done, and then the other two, it's not just about me being able to master them and speak them. It's just hearing those words from Spanish people as well. That now they're saying words, and because I don't know all the tenses, you don't click that it's that verb always because of the irregularity. And also for what I need from a conversation point of view, it's very much to do with here people are always interested in what I've done, who I am, because I'm different. And our lifestyle was very different in New York and very different in Holland and England. So people want to ask a lot about that and about what we're doing here, because again, doing something with biodiversity isn't the norm in the area we live in. And so you need the past tense quite a lot.
and that's what we're going to focus on in the following months, in
Yeah.
mastering that past tense, both with the normal lessons that we have plus the workshops that we
Yeah.
are attached that past to understand how to use it. Okay, so just to bring this process a little bit down to numbers.
Yeah.
In terms of speaking and interacting, I actually wanted to ask you, how long did you take those one-on-one lessons with this other teacher?
I suppose it was nearly a year. I
1
think.
year.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I lost most of it again because she moved away, and then
Mhm.
because she actually moved it probably at too fast a pace, I found that I lose it because I'm not using it,
Mhm. Yeah.
and it wasn't consolidated in my mind, because that's what's happened this time. Now things come a lot easier because they're consolidated and they're just there. Whereas even though I'd done a year with her, it probably wasn't. None of it was really consolidated. And although she used to ask me how my week was, and that, it was always the same answers, because as you know, I have quite a simple life. So then you don't really learn anything in the end.
Yeah, I mean that's what happens when you touch things on a theoretical level, which is important to know
Yeah.
the theory, but you need to bring it down to the practice and speak and interact and move your tongue and mouth.
Yeah. And
Not
that's the thing I struggle with, even in English or Dutch, because of the dyslexia and spelling things wrong and saying things wrong. I mean, I pronounce things wrong.
and in terms of, let's say, bring it to a little bit to numbers, just to to be able to speak
Yeah.
about this. Before you started with that other teacher, before you did that year with her, how confident were you feeling on a scale from 1 to 10 to speak and interact?
3, probably.
A 3. Okay.
Yeah.
After doing 1 year with her, how confident?
Probably a 5. I was less concerned about what people thought.
Okay. But still, you felt that it wasn't like consolidated, that
No,
speaking,
no,
interacting.
no,
So it
no.
was maybe a 5 of
Yeah.
confidence. Okay. And then before we met, you and I, how confident were you feeling on that very scale from 1 to 10? To
Probably
speak, interact,
4 or 5 still.
4 or 5, like just
yeah,
keeping that
yeah,
same level
yeah.
that you had. And what about now? 3 months after?
Confidence-wise, I'm not scared at all. I still block and everything else, but that's not to do with confidence. From a purely confidence, I'd probably say about 7 now.
Okay, that's great. In just 3 months, that's good. It is very, very good. Okay, that's amazing. And what main differences do you find you compare that one-on-one lesson that you had with this other teacher for 1 year compared to the previous that we've done together?
I mean, the difference is huge. I mean, I've already said a lot of it. It's having the time with you to spend on speaking and also technical things as well, but that you're talking in Spanish most of the time. and being able to do the rest behind the scenes, but with proper lessons, because you know all your stuff is with videos. It's not like, say, do the homework. It's like, this is the class, and because I'm want to move forward quickly, I can do the class almost by myself then, and do the homework, and then do the review and the recap and the consolidation with you. So that's the biggest difference, I think, for me compared to any other form of teaching.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Amazing.